Good evening, everyone. Hello. It is 9:30 and happy Thursday. Hope everybody's having a good day. And yes, I got a really late start on getting things put together because I came straight from working at the jail dealing with people. So I apologize if things are not 100% like they normally are. Anyway, welcome to the Thursday night crime stream. I am Sean, also known as Potentially Criminal. And we are going to cover a lot of things tonight. That Kevin Spacey really is Kaiser Sose. He's really just into thin air. We're going to talk about Donald Trump. And yes, former President Trump was arraigned on the indictment that he's facing for destroying America. And we'll talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about what happened in the Rust case and what happened with the armorer Hannah Reed. We'll talk about what's coming up next week. We're also going to talk about a few other things. Sarah Boone has written another letter, and now it's actually up and we can read it, so goody for us. Singapore has executed a drug trafficker, and if you weren't aware, you can't go running around the... there are a lot of places in the world you just can't go sell drugs. It does not turn out well. And sure, we could make fun of Brittany Griner all we want, but there are real people out there who are suffering real consequences with some of this stuff. So it's just something to think about. And what else do we have? Just checking off our list real quick. And then we have, a very interesting story of a police dog unlawfully and wrongfully attacking a man. It's very interesting what happens to the officer involved, because not exactly what we would think happens, but kind of a good resolution. And then finally, Devon Archer, Hunter Biden's friend, did testify in Congress, and we do have some information with that. Yes, Gertrude saying I'm unusually dapper this evening. Yes, I am. Like I said, I came from the jail, did not have time to, didn't really have time to change, so this works. And yes, they're vertical stripes, so a little flatter, a little skinnier looking, but... and if you guys are new tonight, thank you. I know some people did subscribe from the reading through the Trump indictment on Tuesday, and also from the Hannah Reed hearing that was done first thing Tuesday morning. If you guys are new, welcome. We do this every Thursday night at 9:30. And for the first about 10 minutes or so, we try to just hang out for a little bit, let everybody come in, because YouTube doesn't always notify people on time. So it takes a little while for people to filter in. And the biggest thing, though, we have to cover tonight is who was first? Who was the first comment? Because that's the most important thing. So if you're not first, you're last. And first tonight was Claude Foist. Very, very true. Foist. This is who we are. It says, hello, friends. And then over on in Rumble, in the Rumble ghetto, Floppy Phoebus was first with a flag and a dog. There you go. Anyways, hello up on, the horizons over there, Bulldozer. J-Man, you guys are look like you're ready to have fun over there. So I think tonight will be a very fun night. There's a lot to talk about. Can I get these windows all tightened up? And if you guys are new, there is also another place you can join in with the fun, and that is over on Locals. And in this case, it'd be potentiallycriminal.locals.com, where if you join there, you can be part of the members-only chat that we have currently going. There's a live stream there, live chat you can join. And then after this show, we will be over there doing a live stream where we get to hang out, talk. And if you guys are new, there is a neat feature with Locals that we can now do RTMP streaming, which is using this type of setup where I can share things with you. And we can share, and sometimes maybe share too much. But it's a very fun time. It has really greatly, I think, increased everything that we do. And if you guys would like that, you can join over at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. You can get 1 month free with the code CRIMINAL. And that's, once again, 1 month free with the code CRIMINAL. And if you like it, then you can certainly join at whatever rate you want. If you do join for 12 months, you get 2 months free. So That's certainly an offer as well, and that's all over on my locals page, and that's at potentiallycriminal.locals.com. We're going to keep that up for a little bit and just so you guys know about it. Other than that, I hope you guys have had a great week. I know it's been, it's already going to be Friday. I am completely amazed how fast this time has flown by. So we have a couple of things to talk about here. Sheriff Fox says, indict me harder, Daddy. Daddy, indict me harder. Pitchlock says, so anything interesting happened today? No, it's just been a boring day. For me personally in my job, yes, a lot of things happened today that I was not ready for. So it's been one of those days. You might think, oh, wow, that sounds really interesting. Yeah, it's interesting, but it completely derails what you're trying to do. So not the best. Not the best. Breach says Sean is late, which means this is defamation. He has to provide his bar number. Yes. If you guys are following along on Twitter, that was hilarious. That apparently I have to provide my bar number if you ask for it, like I'm a cop. Deadbeat Keith says finally able to catch a live stream for the first time in months. Well, glad you're here. Glad you're able to do it. Garrett Pace says Singapore don't fuck around. They don't, and we'll talk about that. We will definitely talk about that. See, there's some super chats too we need to address. Fair Frozen 55 for $10. Thank you so very much. I appreciate it. Says first in money is where it matters. You know, I'm not going to say that's going to start a bidding war, but maybe something to think about out there. Unhung Hero for $2. Thank you. Says, I'm going to come. Don't come. Then Aaron Hack is just joined as a new member. Thank you so much, Aaron. I appreciate that support. You guys can be members here, or you can join over on Locals, however you wish to do it. Certainly, wherever you guys decide to show your support is never problem for me. It's certainly up to you. I would just point out that if you do over for the costs here, you certainly can get a little more content over on the Locals page. I did forget to mention we do a live stream every Monday night over there, usually about 8:30, and usually go for about an hour and a half. And it's a fun time as well. And it's not all the typical things we talk about here, and talk about all kinds of things. So just something to think about. So who else is here tonight so far? Mr. Whitebread saying the first time live, downloaded the terrible app just to say hi. Love the coverage, Sean. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that you were willing to download the app for me. Thank you very much. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Pyramid 7 says, don't let your meat loaf. Very good advice. I think Confucius said that. Where are we at here? Ash is saying hello, everyone. Furby's saying, do I? No, I talk to people on Locals. Jim saying you were first on Locals. That's the only place that matters. Well, hold on. We got to check there too. I didn't get the chance to click over yet. So who is in the chat over here? If it loads up, I can tell. And yes, it looks like, well, if it keeps going, because there are a lot of people. Yes, Jim was first. Congratulations, Jim. You were first over in Locals. Thank you. Harry Stevens says, notice me, senpai. Oh, let's see. Where's everybody at? Robert Lawrence says, Hunter's in the basement. No, maybe. Not. It's kind of hard to smoke crack in the basement, though. It's probably a little drafty down there. Alpha Fox saying, Sean's number's on a bathroom stall somewhere. Well, of course. That's how your mother found me. So let's see here. I'm trying to catch up to where you guys are. Do I talk about members on locals? No. Jonathan saying potentially white and nerdy is on. Sweet. Thanks. Sean has a pocket protector. No, I don't. No, I do not. No, I do not. I wish maybe I should start wearing one. But I didn't have to wear one today because when I was in the jail, I had the one of these guys. The pens that they use so they can't stab each other. So these are always fun to write with because they don't let you take real pens in. So it was fun trying to write with one of these because you basically have to hold it like this and go do 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 do, and it is a pain in the ass. So we caught up everywhere. Sniffers unite. I guess we're back to this. I'm sure. Yeah, why not? More sniffing. That's great. And I see participation trophy wife over there. Hello. And we are about ready to get started now. Yes, Garrett, it's a flaccid pen. Eric is saying noodle pens. Yes. No, they really do hand these out. It's so, if you have a real pen, one of these bad boys, this can be used as a weapon. It's got parts inside of it they can take out, trying to pick cuffs, do all those kinds of things. But really, more importantly, it's so you can, do your little stabby. This, it's, literally you can bend it and use it. So I once had a client one time, we were having trial and they made him the deputies that were in charge of him would not let him use a real pen. And I had to object to that before we started because I said, look how stupid this thing is. They're going to know either he's dangerous or some sort of lunatic. I mean, neither. It was just he wasn't really good about obeying the conditions of bond. So the judge had revoked it. But because of all that, he was still technically in the sheriff's custody. So they tried to give him one of these. And yeah, thankfully we won. Dennis says, anyone ever get John Wick in court with a pencil? No, but that'd be pretty gnarly. That would be pretty gnarly. So, guys, we are going to get to the biggest thing of the week. I'm sure you guys all know what it's about. It is about what's going on in the world of Pokemon trading cards. I mean, I don't know if you guys know about it, but the prices are just going through the roof. Actually, no, it's about former President Donald Trump. If you guys were not aware, and if you happen to live under a rock, he was indicted. And he was indicted on multiple counts, 4 counts. I still believe there will be more to come. Yes, come. Just given how Jack Smith has done things down with the Mar-a-Lago case, I just think that there is still more to happen there. But he was indicted in a 4-count indictment, and I'll bring this up so we can at least look at it really quickly. If you guys are curious, I did look at it live as it was released. And we also did cover the response of Jack Smith, the special counsel who was investigating all of this. And yes, the fact that they're just protecting America and it was so dangerous. Okay. So ultimately, these stem from the lead up to Election Day to January 6th, and that's what it is. And if you guys are curious, if you want to go on Pacer or Court Listener, here is the case information there. You can look up from there. And this was filed in the District Court for the District of Columbia, so the D.C. District Court, which is where all the January 6th protesters have been charged and tried. And it really hasn't gone well for them. So I think we kind of all agree this is probably not going to go well for anybody looking to get a fair jury. Now, I know there's ideas that he may be able to transfer all this down to Florida, and I think that's actually probably got a good chance, and hopefully it does, because he might get a fair shake down there. Anyway, the counts he is looking at are 4 counts so far. Why is this fighting me? So count 1 is conspiracy to defraud the United States. It's a conspiracy. Count 2 is conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding. Now, the official proceeding is the vote certification for the Electoral College. And then there was count 3, obstruction of an attempt to obstruct an official proceeding. That is the actual hearing. That's what a lot of people were charged with from January 6th. And then count 4 is the conspiracy against rights, which is, I think, hilarious as they put it, our constitutional right to vote, which we don't really have a constitutional right to vote. Interestingly enough, that's not mentioned anywhere in the Constitution. Sure, there are amendments to say 18-year-olds can vote, but that doesn't say you're guaranteed the right to vote. It's just if you have the right to vote, if you are allowed to vote, 18-year-olds can vote. This is 45 pages. There is a lot of discussion in here. They cover many of the major stories and narratives and theories that were running after the election. And I think this is going to present an issue for the prosecution because they're basically going to have to come in and redredge all of this up and then prove beyond a reasonable doubt all this stuff, according to them, was bullshit. I think they're going to have problems, though, because, for example, I think one of the biggest issues, and I brought this up, was Carrie Lake's work in Arizona. Well, we're now seeing that the courts in Arizona are like, wait, what's going on? And we're learning about how things are going. So this idea, oh, well, we looked and there wasn't any fraud. Well, did you really look? How did you look? We're going to find out how those investigations went. Because once again, non-determinative fraud, non-outcome determinative fraud. Just like if you're looking at a house and you find a couple of termites. No, those are non-outcome determinative termites. How do you know? Oh, just trust me. So I think this is going to be a little bit more than Jack Smith has bargained for. I mean, certainly they're going to have to bring in legal experts who are going to have to say, well, yeah, there's actually the arguments we were making. Sure, they were unproven, but they weren't wrong yet. And then in addition to that, all the lawsuits that were put together by either Trump supporters, the Trump campaign, or Republican groups in general, this famous Owen 62. Well, almost all of them were dismissed for procedural matters, and I think only one of them was truly decided on the merits. So I think that's another problem for him, for the prosecution. So I think there's a lot going on there, but time will tell, and I think we're going to learn more as we get going, but keep that in mind. Today, though, today was the arraignment for former President Trump, as they like to call him, Mr. Trump, because they just want to be assholes and make fun of him, which, okay, fine. You get to do what you want to do. He had his arraignment in Washington, D.C. So yes, the brave Drumpf, the brave resistance, because this is just like fighting the Nazis. This is how the Nazis were won, because I strutted around in yoga pants. That's how the Nazis were defeated, guys. Not by having men with guns go take care of things, but by using signs. Zer, though, because I'm not sure this person's gender. And yes, he was arraigned at the Ebert-Prettyman Courthouse in Washington. It's a courthouse where the D.C. Circuit Court is as well. And interestingly enough, it wasn't a big hullabaloo. There were a handful of supporters, and there were also some protesters, but not a ton of people. It was also of note, people on Twitter, so various legal people who had reported on the event on Twitter indicated that there were many, many judges from the D.C. District Court there, including the head judge and a couple of other ones who are more notorious in the vernacular of people stuck with the January 6th issue. So it was very interesting what happened there, including, I think, a couple of them. One includes Amy Berman Jackson, and then I believe the chief judge of the circuit not the circuit, the district court. Sorry, that's a big difference there. Okay. There was also James Boasberg. He was the chief judge of the court. And he was there, and he assumed his office this year being the chief judge. And if you guys weren't aware, he was obviously an Obama appointee, and Amy Berman Jackson was also an Obama appointee. So it's kind of like we're kind of seeing stuff here. I'm just saying. So yes, he was arraigned. He entered pleas of not guilty. Shocker, I know. But he did come from his Bedminster, New Jersey golf course location where, supposedly he really did bury Docs with his former wife, which people actually believe. Like, they think there's really like stolen documents and things buried there and not a body. So much for that blue anon out there. But basically, they said like people like while the crowd grew throughout the day, I mean, onlookers passing by, like really nobody, and like nobody was there. It's kind of like a meh moment. Which, to be fair, if you were there and trying to support him, that's not exactly the friendliest territory. I would consider that a non-permissive environment anyway. But nobody really cared. Nobody was there. There were some celebrity counter protesters, and then there wasn't much going on. These guys did show up renting a caddy limo, which is actually kind of cheeky. But we shall see. I'm sure that they'll claim these guys are now committing fraud against the government. Jack Smith will probably gird his loins over that. But we will see what happens to things going forward. He did enter his plea around 4:30, and then we'll find out what happens. But yes, the scene was different from 939 days ago when thousands of his supporters stormed the Capitol, visible from the front door of the courthouse. They write this as though it's like some crappy Netflix special. And to a lot of these midwits, I would think so for them. So we will find out. All I can say right now is, guys, don't do them. This is, just like we're learning with the case out of Florida. Don't do them. It's the DOJ. They are scumbags. And they aren't good at this. So just take your time. We'll see how crappy this case is as we go forward. And we're going to find out it's going to be very crappy. So Ashley Case is saying, won't they have to give all the January 6th to Trump and Discovery? Yes, certainly. They're going to claim that he led this riotous mob, and they talk about through the indictment, he never told them to stop. Yet they include the parts where he says stop, but they say that didn't count. That was him being tricky. That was him speaking in code. So when he says be peaceful, apparently he means being violent. It's that double speak, the new speak from the communists. Ag is saying, how many of those 60 plus cases actually had Trump listed on the lawsuit? I don't know. But we'll find out. And I will tell you guys, they do list co-conspirators in there. There's 6 of them that are listed. There's a couple of them that, while we were reading through it, we were able to figure out pretty quick. Number 1's Rudy. Co-conspirator number 2 is Lynn Wood. Number 4 is Jeffrey Clark. He was a DOJ guy. Number 5 was James Tropis. I think there's a concern that number 2 is John Eastman, but I don't recall off the top of my head. I know somebody's cracked the code already, but we did not get that far. But I do encourage you guys to take a look at it. We did go through it from stem to stern. So where are we? Jim is saying, can't we sue the DOJ for spoliation of our tax dollars? You'd love to think so at this point, but no, sadly. Robert Lawrence's trial, August 28th, I guess. Yeah, that's supposedly what's claimed, but there's no way you can have a trial in that time. I mean, think about all this crap you would have to be ready for that, and all the stuff they likely have, all the people they've interviewed. There's no way you'd be ready in anytime soon. So I'm sure we'll see what happens. And we'll see. Maybe he does get a venue change on that alone. We won't know. Let's see here. Don is saying Sarah wrote another letter. Yes. Garrett saying, please, these nuts, Your Honor. Not. That would not be the best advice out there. Not the best advice out there. So, there's another super chat here. The Amateur Iconoclast for $5. Thank you so much for your super chat. Saying, did you know you are a capo in the Arcade? Did you know that you are a capo in the Arcade crime family, according to Monty and his lawyer? Yes, and actually, the correct term is a capo regime. If you're gonna say it, we gotta use the real terms. We're not gonna soprano-fy this. We're gonna use the real terms. We're gonna speak the mother tongue here. You know, and also just for the record, if I really am, I hope I get like free gabagool out of that. You know, that's the biggest thing. Barton Bella says, any word on Gonzalo Lira? Not yet. The whole thing with him is weird. And if you guys aren't familiar, Gonzalo Lira is also known as Coach Red Pill, was an American citizen over in Ukraine. He was detained by the Ukrainian secret police and has since got out, but then put on Twitter saying, I'm going to go all the way from one end of Ukraine to the other end of Ukraine on my motorcycle and seek asylum in Hungary. Well, apparently he got caught. Well, nobody said Gonzalo Lira was the smartest man in the world. So we'll find out what happened. Certainly that will be a topic worthy of discussion, but there isn't a whole lot of information for us to go off of right now. Unknown here for $2 saying, Capo Vagine? Yes. Yes. Still are saying, I'm a co-conspirator. Yes. It's like Spartacus. I'm a co-conspirator. No, I'm a co-conspirator. It's like over on the farm. So, no, I'm Kalia. Evil Lash is saying you're rooting for Nick being found guilty of RICO because it would be hilarious. Okay. I said I'm not coming on the cases. All I can say is RICO is not the case. No. The only RICO anybody should ever give shit about is Rico Suave. Because otherwise, the answer is never RICO. No. It's never RICO. That's never the case. Like, the only answer to RICO should be LMAO. That's the only response. Other than that, I'm not going to comment further. So, Pyramid 7 saying, I heard that he's an FSB asset. I mean, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Well, Andrew W. is fair. Yes, there's another Rico, that Johnny Rico. Although if you read the book, it's Juan Johnny, it's Juan Rico. But yes, Rico's Roughnecks. So that, I guess I got a little too carried away there. All right. Well, speaking of getting carried away, the nation of Singapore. Woo, lad. Singapore executed a woman for the first time in nearly 2 decades for trafficking drugs. Yes, that's right. Trafficking drugs. So if you guys aren't aware, and we talked about this last time when Brittany Griner was in the news, be careful going around world with drugs, because even a little bit of weed in a vape pen won't get you held in a Russian prison for a while. And, well, then you spend your days where inmates and guards mock you for your racial identity. They mock you for your gender and all kinds of things, and probably beat you as well. Some countries, like the U.S., well, they treat you like crap. They steal your money and then just put you in prison. Other countries kill you. And Singapore is one of them. There are other countries as well. And you don't want to go to them. And this is not a joke. There are many places, especially in Southeast Asia, um, where you can be executed for trafficking drugs. I mean, there's quite a few. And I mean, there's not fun ones where you're going to want to go. I mean, you know, obviously nobody's going to want to go to Somalia. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. But a lot of places you might want to go. You know, Indonesia. You know, Indonesia depends on severity. In Iran, you know, you might like to go to Iran. You know, Jordan, Laos. I mean, nobody's actually going to Laos. That would be insane. But if you want to go to Malaysia, I would not recommend that. They killed a guy. They executed a guy for having 6 grams or 6 kilos of meth. And then just 2 years ago now, but roughly 2 years ago, a guy had 300 grams of pot, which isn't a ton, really, when you think about it. I mean, it's a nice size bag, but they hung him for that. They hanged him. You know, obviously, I wouldn't go to North Korea. Saudi Arabia will do it. Singapore will do it. South Korea can, but they haven't done it in a very long time. But there's a lot of places you wouldn't want to go to. Thailand is also a very common one. So if you want to go hang out with Legal Mindset, don't bring drugs. I also wouldn't recommend going to Vietnam and doing it. But we can talk about this here. They executed the first woman, and it was amid anti-death penalty protest. This woman, I'm not going to pronounce her name very well. Let's call her Sorry. She was hanged Friday after being convicted for possessing not less than 30.72 grams of heroin, which 30 grams of heroin, that's a nice little bit. It's a nice little bit. You know, and the Misuse of Drugs Act in Singapore provides for the death penalty if the amount of dimorphine trafficked is more than 15 grams. Yes, that's yes. Now, I will also point out Singapore is a nation that's known for its corporal punishment as well. They do canings, and just like you think it sounds, and if you happen to be a WWF fan, back in the day when they would use bamboo caning, yes, they start whooping on you with a bamboo cane. Not fun. Famously, there was an American citizen. I think he was like 17 or 18, got caught using graffiti with spray paint, and they caned the shit out of him. And I think that was actually the impetus behind The Simpsons doing the Bart getting the boot in Australia. But yeah, they caned the fuck out of that guy. He didn't enjoy it. Despite an appeal and an attempt to get a presidential pardon, her punishment was imposed, you know, which not the best move in the world there. Singapore claims this helps deter drug offenses in the city-state. Because remember, Singapore is a small nation. It's basically Singapore and Singapore City. But it's very populous and very well off. So Amnesty International is claiming, well, there's no evidence the death penalty has any unique deterrent. Well, okay. And the only message this sends is that Singapore is willing to once again defy international safeguards on the use of the death penalty. Which, I mean, I don't. How is there really international safeguards? Is there like the international death penalty? You know, or the death penalty auditing association? Like, yes, you're hanging. You do it right. Or they go to Saudi Arabia. Hey, you know, these guys, these beheading swords, they're just not sharp enough. You know, we're going to deduct points here. You're no longer certified by us. Now, it wouldn't surprise me, especially when you're in countries. Well, the U.S. does do this, where disproportionately affects low-income defendants, but around the rest of the world, it's even worse. So, Yes, you don't want to be poor and commit crimes around the world. You don't want to do it here in America, but I would still take my chances in America over anywhere else. So don't go to Singapore and traffic drugs. Don't really go into Southeast Asia and traffic drugs. That's probably the best advice I can give you at this point. Garrett saying the recidivism rate is 0. Yes, very true. Very, very, very true. Hunch the Dirty Roofer for $2. Thank you. Is saying they should have done her twice since she had double. Oh. Porcelain Thunder says caning sounds like a bonus for Bud Light drinkers. Yes. Luther's saying 28.4 grams per ounce. Yes. But that said, an ounce of heroin is quite sizable amount. And that would get you in a lot of trouble in a lot of states here in America. You just wouldn't get executed for it. So, Eric Foam's saying all that guy did was spray paint a car. Yeah, but they did not fuck around with him. Oh, Pepsi Man here. Oh, this is good to know. If this is true, this is pretty neat. Caning started in ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling, the real sport of kings. You know, they had Sabu jumping off in a ladder match covered in barbed wire. Oh, it was the best stuff ever. Concertina wire. And it started because of the case of the American being caned in Singapore. That's pretty neat. That's pretty gnarly. So, Furby Slayer is saying, watch your prescription drugs too. 100%. For example, in Japan, you cannot possess Ritalin or other ADHD medications because they consider them, which they basically are, as amphetamines. And amphetamines are illegal even with a prescription. So, for example, there were members of the Olympic athletes all over the world who were taking this stuff. And the Japanese, when they had the Olympics in Tokyo in 2020, but they ended up doing 2021 because of COVID, had to give special exemptions to people to bring in prohibited drugs that they could use. So, yes, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Just be very careful. Jay Luther saying, why not just go to Portugal and stay there? Well, not a bad idea. If you want to do drugs, yes, Portugal's a great place to go. Peyton Wong is saying, don't do weed in Aisha if you want to live. Well, I wouldn't want to do weed inside of Aisha either, but I assume he meant Asia. Yes. Be careful. Be careful with the devil's cabbage down there. Let's see here. Stephen Cooper saying that in Thailand, with it being a monarchy, if the king denies your clemency, they have 24 hours to execute. Oh boy. That's fast. That's a geez, they make jokes about Texas putting in like the drive-through for their executions. Jeez. That's even worse. Oh. Yes, Porcelain Thunder says they cane you for spitting on the subway. Here in America, you could take a giant dump on the subway. That's the difference. That's what freedom gets you. Pike says you can't have melatonin. What? Really? You can't have melatonin in France? It's a natural. How do people make their? Well, they probably give their kids a lot of wine, but you can't bring melatonin. I don't. It's not that I don't believe you, but hold on. Oh no, it's saying you can only get melatonin with a prescription. Can you take melatonin into France? Apparently it says you can. I don't know. TripAdvisor says so. Hunch the Dirty Roofer says ECW, the national pastime of Midwest trailer parks. Hey, you know what? ECW was great. And I didn't live in a trailer park, but it was good stuff. Thank you for the super chat as well. Mandy saying, where did Ralph get jumped and beaten in the Philippines? No, that was in Portugal. So that's a shame. That's a shame, says they mix the wine with water, so it's okay. Yes. KLI says, well, apparently you can't bring heroin into Canada. Who would have thought that? I'm just saying, notice he didn't rebut. I don't disagree with you on that. It's just I happen to not live in a trailer park and I still enjoyed it. But yes, ECW is enjoyed by many people in a mobile home community. You know, whether your mobile home community is called the Chateau Arms or the, Rollingwood Estates, or the famous one, the Chateau Estates, the most highest quality mobile home community, the Chateau Estates. Unhung Hero for $5. Thank you. Saying, be like Ralph and go to Portugal if you want to do drugs in a foreign country. Just don't let some British guys jump you. Yes. Yes. Don't let some British guys figure out where you are and then jump you and then beat the crap out of you. Robin saying, what's with the tie? No tie on today. I took that off before I got done, but no, got a little late day. Had to be in the jail speaking to people for a lot longer than I anticipated. So didn't have time to really worry about changing clothes. That's a shame saying, what's ECW? And Eric Fulham says it's Extreme Championship Wrestling. So, yes, don't go around the world doing drugs. Just stay here and do drugs. And crap on the subway. And there is an update in the Rust shooting, the shooting that Alec Baldwin has magically escaped any liability from. And the last person left standing is the armor, Hannah Reed. Hannah Gutierrez Reed, or I don't know, whatever we're going to call her at this point. So there was a hearing. It was on Tuesday morning. It was very short. There were actually a bunch of motions filed. And oh my gosh, it was absolutely ridiculous what was going on. I know we covered it, and it was very, very ridiculous what was going on there. Just the amount of nonsense that was going on in this case was just mind-blowing. The motions, that there'd be a motion, then there'd be a response to the motion, then there'd be a reply to the response for that motion, then an expedited response to the emergency motion that was filed. And I'm not joking. That's literally what these guys did for months at this point, months and months on end, to the point where it was even hard for me to keep track of them as we were going through them. I'm trying to pull up that chart I had earlier because, yes, it is actually something to behold. So just the nonsense here, guys, and I wanted to bring this up because this is just these are all the things that have been filed in that case for Hannah Reed. So we get all the way down to the bottom. And they talk about all the issues where they wanted to request a preliminary hearing and there was a criminal information filed where she's facing a count of manslaughter. Since then, they have also looking to charge her with evidence tampering. because the allegations are that Hannah Reid, upon the shooting occurring and Helena Hutchins dying, would then hand somebody a bag of drugs and tell them to hide them and get rid of them. Now, we don't know who said that, but I'm assuming it's the person who had the drugs, just because that's usually how that thing goes. When we see all the way back in February, there motion, and notice. And just look at this going on through March into April. This is just ridiculous. And we get all the way to the point where by July, you have something called the response to the expedited motion to strike defendants supplement to motion to dismiss second amended information and motion to dismiss third amended information. I mean, just look at that. And then you have things here. The reply to that expedited motion to strike defendants supplement to motion to dismiss second amended information and motion to dismiss third information. And it just keeps going. And then you have the request for an expedited hearing on those things. This is just going on and on and on and on and on. So at that hearing, the judge basically said, I'm not addressing any of this nonsense. This is all untimely. This is at the preliminary hearing stage. We're not getting into how things are being done yet, because that's not how this works. And that's very true. At the preliminary hearing stage, the legality of a search or how things were conducted is not up for discussion. It's not up for debate. Pyramid 7's Discord is cracking me up. Well, yes, we do have a Discord. It is, if you guys look down below, you should be able to find that in the description. I'm not sure I want to know what's happening in Discord. Sometimes I don't want to look. But now, that said, Hannah Reid is having a preliminary hearing, and this determines whether or not there's enough probable cause to move forward on her case. And when will we find out about that preliminary hearing? Well, that preliminary hearing starts. Okay, I think people are trying to get could hear that. It is next week. It is August 9th and August 10th. I presume it's going to take 2 days because the state of New Mexico has a witness list of 30 people. You heard that right, 30. Multiple experts at explosives and firearms and tool marks. It sounds like they're going to have many people involved from the shooting itself. But here is their their 8th amended witness list for the preliminary hearing. So they have people, obviously law enforcement. Okay, the Santa Fe Sheriff's Office. And then we have somebody who, we get through all these, and, the detectives and the people who responded, and the medical examiners. Then we have other people like Joel Souza, number 19. You guys remember Joel Souza? He's the guy who was wounded. Excuse me. He was wounded. He's going to be a witness. And it keeps going. And then you get to this guy here, David Halls. You guys remember him? He was the assistant director. He is the one who handed the gun to Alec Baldwin. He's also the only one who has entered a plea to anything and pled out to a misdemeanor charge, which I'm sure that charge was conditioned upon him cooperating in the investigations and prosecutions of the others. So David Halls is going to be there. Very interesting. There are multiple people presented by the Vigil Law Firm. And then we get to some of the other people that it's going to be actually interesting. There's only 40 now. There's only 40 witnesses for a preliminary hearing. I really don't know what they think they're going to do with all this, because holy God, this is a lot of freaking people. This is a lot of people. I didn't see him on here, but he was on here previously. Seth Kenny, PDQ Arm and Prop. And he is the guy who supplied the weapons and ammunition and all that stuff initially to the Rust set. So he is going to testify. And it will be live streamed. It will be streamed on YouTube. We will be streaming it and watching along and reacting. So If you guys are looking forward to that, we will do that. Keep in mind, they are 2 hours behind because they're on mountain time. So I don't believe it's going to start till at the very earliest, probably 9 or 11 o'clock Eastern time. I don't know the exact time yet. Let's see here. Furby Slayer saying clown show. Yes. That's a shame. Says, can you just call it an omnibus motion? I don't know. I don't know about New Mexico, procedures and pleadings. Also, some judges don't like that. I mean, that's going to be a local rules issue. And more importantly, and yes, that's right, guys, there are court rules, but then there's local rules for each specific court. So, for example, in the state of Ohio, there's 88 counties. There are 88 sets of local court rules. Now, some courts, they just they use the Supreme Court's rules and we're like, whatever. But there's a lot of courts where they have special rules you have to comply with. And then from each courtroom, from judge to judge, they all have their own little special rules. Now, they don't it's not one says I need 35 font, Comic Sans, and the other one says Times New Roman 12, but they all have different rules and ways they do things. So maybe, I don't know for sure. Yes, this is the motion that doesn't end. It just goes on and on, my friend. That's a shame. Says, I don't know how to use Discord. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Just saying that's not the worst thing in the world. It's Crying Shame says hello. Yes, hi. Rich G says, if she was deaf, would you still call it a hearing? You bigot. Yes. Aaron is saying, at what point is the state just padding their witness list in a bad faith effort to encumber the defense? I don't know, because keep in mind, and I'm sure if you guys have listened to Robert Barnes, and I don't know about other people, I know Robert Gavea, Peter Tragos, they've, Emily Baker, but she's been on the other side of it. Preliminary hearings typically aren't very long. You can usually get them done in, a half hour for something fairly big. Like a burglary case, you could do in a couple, it's not going to take that long. Usually have the police officer come up, or the victim owns the home or the place, say yeah, I own this place. I came home and found this guy in it. Do you know who he is? No. Did he have permission to be there? No. And then, the officer comes and says, yeah, I found him. He wasn't supposed to be there. And yeah, he admitted he wasn't supposed to be there. Preliminary hearings are very short, very sweet. They used to be very good places to test the mettle of a case and had a lot of effect, that you could generally take care of business at that level. Since then, they've been kind of bastardized and cheapened to the point where you really don't win them anymore. And by winning, for example, in Ohio, I can win a preliminary hearing for you. We can win in the court, say, I find no probable cause to proceed. That prosecutor can then just walk down the hall or walk over to their office, prepare for the next grand jury session, maybe the next week, or maybe that next day if they're in a big enough county, and just go, hey, grand jury, what do you think? And they'll go, yeah, sure. Because remember, it's a one-sided affair in the grand jury. And they could say, oh, we have an indictment now. So I'm not 100% sure. We will find out this answer by watching it. Porcelain Thunder says, that guy invent the sousaphone? Maybe. You have to ask him. Wolfer says, I just entered the code at locals and it says expired. I will, you know what? I'll work on fixing that. It's going to be a little hard to work on right now, but I will try to get that sorted out for you. My apologies. That's a little embarrassing. Trying to tell you guys, hey, come do this, and then womp womp, it doesn't work. Oh, actually, hold on here. Let me see here. Oh, expiration. Oh. Oh, hold on here. You know what? Criminal in all caps. You know what? Here, this should work now. And this will. And let's see here. I think I fixed it. Wolfer, try it again and let me know. Should be criminal in all caps. It'll be potentially criminal, all one word in caps, and you'll use that. It should work. If it doesn't, let me know, and we'll figure out a way to fix that, because yeah, that should definitely not happen. Yeah, I don't know why it's not working, so my apology on that. Thank you for trying. Ag is saying, so is there a file Sean should have to open now? Yeah. Robin Fox has 88 counties. That's getting complicated. That's not like Kentucky has 123. Texas has 297, I think. Texas, the number of counties, 254 counties. Sorry. I know you Texans will get all fired up about that, but yes. This is who we are, says the Randazza font. Yes. Yeah. Robin Fox says to be a fly on the wall of a grand jury. Yeah, yes, it is very. Oh, God damn you. Scared me half to death there. Yes, it is very interesting. Having spent time as an assistant prosecutor, I got to sit in on grand juries before and see how they work. I will say, in one office I was in, we were fairly small, so our elected, my boss, was all about like you got to learn learn and see how this is done. Yes, it's a very simple process. It's not as elaborate as you think. I mean, it's a bunch of people sitting in a room. Sometimes, depending on how big your courthouse is, generally it's at a courthouse. It might be at the prosecutor's office if they're not attached. But you're in a conference room, sometimes a jury room, but you're just all sitting around a table. And inside is the court reporter, because she takes everything down. The transcripts of the grand jury are sealed, and you don't have access to them, absent certain conditions. But there's a court reporter there, and then the prosecutor's sitting there and says, good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the case of State of Ohio versus Joe Neerman. And what we are alleging is on or about July 1st of 2023, Joe Neerman did, commit the crime of, stealing 500 pounds of gefilte fish from the local deli. And this is in contradiction to Ohio Revised Code, blah, 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 blah. So what they would do is they'd bring in the people. Normally it's probably the owner of the store and the police officer who caught Joe, or what their investigation led to. And that's it. Nobody else gets to present evidence. No one else gets to talk. No defense attorney is there, and the defendant's never there. And the grand jury votes. And grand juries don't have to be unanimous when they issue an indictment. They generally have some level of, Ohio, it's 7 of 9 members on the grand jury vote to indict. That's good enough. And then if they issue the indictment, they get to decide whether or not they want to seek a warrant. Now, when they go vote, the court reporter gets up and leaves, the prosecutor gets up and leaves, and the witness and the police officer get up and leave. We all walk outside, sit and wait. And to be fair, it's fairly quick. I mean, that shows you kind of how the grand jury experience. I mean, it's a very one-sided affair. I mean, usually it's only a matter of, you get out, close the door, and it takes longer for them to come out and say, yeah, we've got to vote. So sorry to dispel the magic for you, if you had any. Fractal Failure over on Rumble says, grand juries are too easy to weaponize and need to be adversarial. Not necessarily a bad idea. We Hear Well says criminal, gonna go check. Yeah, please go check, and then if that doesn't work, type in potentially criminal, all in caps. J-Man says Texas has 252 too many counties. J-Man says the only county in Texas is the one that I live in. Mandy says I should do a promo code sniff. I might actually do that now for you guys. Mandy's saying, did I forget to pay my locals bill? No. No, I didn't pay the light bill. Mandy says, I was in a mock jury once. Everybody was retarded. Pretty much my experience dealing with juries at times. Eric says Joe Neerman committed the act of mopery. Joe's guilty of usury. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Mandy says Jeff stole Fievel's hat. Yes. Oh my god, I'd love to see Joe in a Fievel hat. That'd be great. Coach would be plead the fifth. Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on that. I gotta come up with something. Look, the people at Locals showed me how to do it, and I just put something down so I didn't forget it. And then getting on to, there is a Ag Chemist for $4.99. Thank you very much. I appreciate the super chat saying, Sean, you should cover the Iowa State athlete betting scandal sometime. Crazy stuff started coming out yesterday. I'll have to. Didn't hear about this yet, but the yeah, that's certainly never a good idea if you're a college athlete to start betting on things, because point shaving is not a good idea, kids. That's free legal advice. All right, moving on to where are we at now? We are to. We got to the drug trafficking to Rust update. Yes, and I will be doing Rust on Wednesday morning, and then on to the 10th if it does go that long. We will cover it from end to end. It should be a great time. And then on Thursday night, it is another stream. We'll be doing at 9:30, and the neat part is that's a birthday stream because the 10th is my birthday, so we'll be having some fun there. Just so you know, might get a little loose because I don't have anything scheduled the next day. I plan that out. Okay. Now, Sarah Boone, our girl, the Florida suitcase packing champion. You guys are not aware, Sarah Boone is a woman down in the Orlando area. She, well, to put it nicely, helped allegedly kill her boyfriend by sealing him inside a suitcase and letting him asphyxiate because of the way his body was positioned. Since then, Sarah has gone through multiple lawyers, and her case started initially in 2020. And, well, Sarah has this great habit of speaking to the world now because she realizes we all read her letters. And she is, yes, as I said, she's speaking to us now. She knows we're out there. Yes, Porcelain Thunder says Samsonite Sarah. Yes. Goalie says, and she forgot she recorded it on her phone. Yes, she did. Oh my God, Nico, that is brilliant. Promo code case closed. Suitcase closed. Oh. So, yes, this will be funny going forward. Oh, promo code pack a bag. Yes. Unhung Hair says luggage tags when. That I've been slowly working on that. Been a little sidetracked with, doing the real work out there. Got a very big case I'm handling criminal wise that I just got. So we'll be working on that hopefully soon. I think we're very close. So Sarah Boone was charged with that, and I'd like to show the video, but then they'll demonetize this. So it's out there. We've covered it multiple times before, but let's get to the letter Sarah wrote. It is one thing you say about Sarah is her penmanship is pretty good. I will give her that. I will 100% give her that because, yes, she has a very good penmanship. And I don't know, why is this so skinny? Like, really? That was weird. That's weird. StreamYard, you make this hard for me sometimes. You got to unfuck this StreamYard. Come on, bros. So this was hand-delivered on 7/21/23. Revisions made 7/20/23. Original not uploaded. Yes, there was an issue that these did not get uploaded. She mails these to the judge's office, and the judge does not read these because that's an ex parte communication between a party without the prosecution being available, number one. And number two, it's to a represented party, and he's not allowed to do that either. So these are then publicly uploaded to the Orange County Clerk of Court's docket page for Sarah's case. And if you guys are wondering where to find it, this is her case number right here. 2020 CF 2603.AO. Like Sopranos. Like, oh. She says this is a second attempt to make public, like everything else in my case, including all my other letters. Freedom of speech, mine. It's like the seagulls in Nemo. Mine. As she starts, all for your review, critique, judgment, and understanding. Try it. Clarify. We got some definitions, guys. And I'm kind of reading this along with you for the first time. I just saw this and said, holy cow, she's starting to lose her nut. But yes, we'll start with clarify. To become or make clear. Clarity. Clearness. Per the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Where do I start? Through the officer-inmate grapevine and a letter I received from my fan mail. And usually the only way I find anything out regarding my case, since there is no communication from my current attorney, now 10 weeks more of complete silence. And yes, my sixth attorney, which I will clarify momentarily, I was made aware my last letter was featured on the news locally, realistically meaning globally. Apparently, my very legitimate, lawful, real questions and concerns I asked, and I'm still caused a stir on top of the already engulfing whirlpool my case has become and made out to look like, which it is not. Hence my previous questions from said letter. I'm trying to predict and maintain my truth, which no one knows, since no one else will. However I can, and keep some of the illicit ugliness at bay. Mismanage it at its finest in everything. Why wasn't I included at all? Why wasn't I asked prior to being highlighted so I would know what was said or asked or criticized so I could rightfully defend myself? What was so newsworthy? By not including me is unfair and adds to the assumption of what everyone wants me to end up being and thinks I am. This is wrong and also adds to the prejudgment of my case. All of the idiotic theories, empty opinions, false accusations is all the ignorance world knows from all the pertinent private case details available to everyone except me, the defendant in my case. How can I defend myself? I can't, so everything gets meaner, more evil, corrupt, and out of control. I believe this is what a trial is for, right? The world, say Jeremy Clarkson mode, the world is supposed to learn everything about my case during the trial, right? This is not justice or a system, right? All fairness has been completely removed, right? Actually, Sarah, that one doesn't work because I actually don't know if fairness has been removed. Like, you doesn't work the way you're trying to come across there. But we also notice your grammar is not the best. But I will say you do have a very good. You are very verbose in your vocabulary. So were any of my questions answered? Was anything at all clarified regarding evaluations, amendment violations, case sensitivity protection, or suppression? What's the video hit count reached? Now, my last letter, it was over 3 million. How much does that shareable income make for everyone? Just so you know, Sarah, it's not making me that much. If I was making bank off this, I'd put some money on your commissary. Did anyone locate my attorney or discovery? Everything, everyone, everywhere in the world knows or has seen or listened to all of my discovery again, except me. In the meantime, here's a corner piece to my convoluted puzzle. All are wondering when it will finally be put together to see what the neat picture is, and also a huge disentanglement of only an inkling of some of the misunderstandings and ignorance swirling about in my case. Oh my God, you need to learn how to use a period. That is way too much in one sentence. Before you try wearing my slides, meaning her prison flip-flops, know where they've been. Not sure I want to know where they've been. My attorneys, 6. Un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six. 6. See, I'm bilingual. When, and as I've said numerous times in my previous letters, not by choice, I am on a 6th attorney. Here is some clarity, so everyone could finally have some understanding why my slides are so worn, but most definitely walkable still. Oof. Jim is saying she's really going through box wine withdrawals. That's a shame, says she is the absolute fucking worst. Been there, done that, says Sarah. Sarah, I can't breathe. Sarah. Yes, that is the last words of her boyfriend as she killed him. Oh. Mandy says, read this in Yosemite Sam voice. Yeah, I'm trying. Mandy says Gosney would read this and say, fuck this shit and throw it away. Garrett saying, why no love for the Oxford comma? That is way too much shit to put in a sentence. Like, if your sentence is 3 lines long, almost 4 lines long, it's way too long. You're putting way too much information. Your sentences should be short. Like, they should succinctly convey one idea at a time. If you're running into multiple ideas, you got to break it up. So. Sean Bird says, I can fix her. I won't fit into a suitcase. Well, that's see, true. I can't either. Carrie's like, I love long sentences. Oh, yes, she's oh. Yes, Garrett Pace says she's no Matthew Harris. She's not, but we all have to start somewhere. I mean, he had a PhD. She's doing pretty good. That's a shame, says, dude, you should have seen the bitches sipping for Sarah. Sarah Boone and Tragos' chat. Really, the wine moms are all about Sarah? Well, anyways, we need to get back to this because it's gonna be good. It's gonna take us a little bit though. Attorney number 1, private, February 2020 through May 2022. This attorney sold me the world, promised exoneration and supplied an overabundance of other continuous false hopes, so I would accept his offer to become my attorney. He had no idea what my case was going to be or really about. Then he deserted me. His client, naive and new, 2 weeks before my first scheduled trial due to irreconcilable differences, meaning I was not persuaded enough to agree with what he wanted me to say or do and was not what happened. I'm sure it wasn't because you are a complete lunatic and you couldn't pay your bill. There was no trust. There was no strategy. And if there was, I was never included in on it or an innumerable amount of other case defining details and questions left unanswered before going to trial. I felt he was sabotaging my case and setting me up for failure due to his due to his small amount of experience, which I found out later if the fact was not disclosed prior to my acceptance of representation, and micro amount of experience, and my macro-sized case. Now she's starting to sound like a crypto bro. Nonetheless, when we did meet to discuss my case, and I asked for updates about any progress, he would start talking about his clients in Colombia, his clown of a sister-in-law, his nephew going to water parks, trips he's taken, his regrets, where he bought his gold sneakers, and many other unrelated, unimportant things, time-consuming stories, all the while I'm trying to figure out what's going on and why he's not answering any of my questions. Nothing was ever completed or accomplished or communicated, building 1,000 fires waiting you need to be put out before making another to be left ablaze. I was always ignored, and in the dark conjuring, the dreadful perpetual question mark looming still over my head. That's deep. So much I prepared an 8-page packet for Judge Wayne Wooten to provide during both court dates, defending myself against my attorney's untrue, unresearched withdrawals. No one asked me nor permitted to speak my truth, to help him in the court understand my real concerns along with all the carryover since day one. I was trying to avoid going through any of this again going forward. It had already been 2.3 years. I wanted the judge to include me and know I have a side also in everything. Everything. Everything, sir? Everything! Plus, I know Judge Wooten would be appointing my next attorney in hopes he would listen and appoint a more suitable, experienced one accordingly to save time for everyone to progressively move forward. He must have been throwing darts at a dartboard blindfolded. Sarah, talking shit about your judge is not the best strategy. That's just friendly advice. I don't even need to be a lawyer to tell you that. Talking shit about the judge is never a good idea. Especially when you write it to his office and then it gets published. This attorney number one. Wait, you already said you're on attorney one. I thought we already moved on. Okay, this attorney is untrustworthy, unreliable, unprofessional, poor leadership skills, and extremely unorganized. He was unable to perform ethically, and as an adult, ignoring his client, misleading and deceiving. He didn't even respect me enough to speak with before his withdrawal to try and remedy or figure out anything to stop. I was totally blindsided because of the magnitude of his ineptness and dereliction of duty. As a result, withdrawing from my case at the 11th hour after taking over 2 years with nothing I knew of but disappointment. I could have reported him to the Florida bar for legal malpractice, but apparently he didn't. Exhaustion 1. You could still report him. It's like it happened this year. May 2022, you can still report it. I'm just so exhausted from a year now. I'm still waiting on him to release all of my case files and documents obtained and accrued during his representation, including well over 100 pages of my handwritten notes, information which is irreplaceable. He is still not helping. Him no longer being my attorney was not my choice. Numbers 2, 3, and 4, public defenders appointed by the judge. May through June. And over the course of a month and a half, she went through 3 attorneys. Good job. He appointed the public defenders without any research or care, and after I continuously explained to each and tried to the court they would not represent me due to the representations of the decedent, we've done our homework, I was told. I received 3 withdrawals, none by choice, definitely not systematic, but it should be systemic. Well, but if they had represented your beau, your paramour, that is a massive conflict of interest. They can't be involved. Attorney 5, conflict, appointed by the judge. Upon our first and only meeting, this attorney explained his mass confusion and why he was appointed as he was leaving for a teaching job out of Orlando within the leak. I learned more from this attorney in one meeting regarding my case than all the others combined. It was extremely disheartening he could not continue representation and set the bar going forward, especially regarding honesty and respect. I received only 2 letters from him, introduction and a withdrawal. He also did not know where any of my discovery was or notes, now 5 attorneys later, not by choice. Well, he's not going to know. Literally, if he just got appointed and he's leaving, he doesn't know shit. And now we're to attorney number 6. I love how she does this. It's almost like it's like a song from Rent. This attorney was appointed by the judge. The 1-year mark was July 11th. 12 months, 365 days, 52 weeks. Or 525,600 minutes. Just saying. Sean is right. After 6 attorneys, maybe they're not the problem. Yes, Feder Lumpkin, yes, she does have a very good penmanship. I cannot write that well. It's pretty decent cursive. It's not cursive. It's kind of like a combination. You can also tell she's right-handed because if she was left-handed, I have this problem when I write with a pen, especially their ink pens, it just turns into smear. It looks like the letters are going along at 500 miles an hour. Mandy says her handwriting looks like a Pearl Jam album cover. Oh, crap. Toto Vader says 100 pages of handwritten notes. Yes. Yes. Ag says, was this written with a prison pen? If it was, then she should be released on bond because that's an impressive feat. All right, we got to finish this up, guys. Summarize 8 total months, 240 days and counting. We are with absolutely no communication in any form. Now, if this is true, this part here, I have a massive problem with. That this guy has not been in contact with her. Total amount of hours as a court-appointed attorney, over 8,760. Now, to be fair, Mandy, or to be fair, Sarah, if you're really going to start making these arguments, you should say as of the time of this writing, or as of the time of this filing, or as of this date. Because then we can have some certainty, like what date frame are we talking about? So, actually, just so you know for your next one. And if you do that, I'm truly going to laugh that I got through to you. Total times met with client, me. Why don't you just say total times met with me? 6. Or as I say en français, 6. Total hours spent with client, 7. Set. In French. Total phone numbers given to client from attorney, 2. Duh. Numbers at work, 0. 0. Total times number of speaking to client via phone, 0. Total number of 15-minute video visits with client, 4. Total number of letters sent to attorney trying to communicate, 8. So known as wheat. Total number of letters to the judge trying to communicate my unsuccessful communication. God, I just blah, 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 with my attorney in hopes he will communicate with him to communicate with me. It's almost like, touching you, touching me. Yeah, we're touching. Yeah. 7. Letters to other parties to communicate, 3. Total times in court, 3. 1 was an attempt to withdraw. 2 carry over and over. Last time I spoke with my attorney, May 18th, 2023. Where is the progress after 1 entire complete year? Unknown. Whatever. I'll give you. You get credit for getting it right. You're trying. But this is our plea to everybody out there. Everyone, please look on the Orange County, Florida Clerk of Court's website and see for yourself. Am I looking at it wrong? Reading the contents incorrectly? The mass majority of work seems to be from my correspondence. If not my letters, there's minutes, some live, to view from my non-progressive lackluster court dates stating the same information and same continuances, and of course, none of my comments, concerns, or questions from any. I don't just sit there. Edited, like my case. I feel it important also to communicate to everyone so you understand the undertaking it is for an inmate to attend court and why it is so important for me to have progress to report to make the day count. It's an undertaking. It's like, what kind of an undertaking is it for you to get to court? I mean, Jesus, Sarah. It's not like you have to write a pogo stick there or seal yourself in a suitcase and get thrown in the back of a paddy wagon. Come on now. It's transport. It's not hard. and you have to eat a shitty bagged lunch while you're there. I get it. We are woken up at 3 a.m., taken to a holding cell and wait 4+ hours, and then taken to the courthouse and put in another holding cell for however many hours until court time. Okay, that's actually fairly true. I don't know about the 3 a.m. part, but yes, if you don't happen to have a courthouse attached to your jail, yeah, that part does kind of suck, but you're just going along. All this for only a 5 to 10 minute opportunity in front of the judge to say anything, if at all. Yeah, that's what pretrials are. Then taken to another holding cell for however long, transported back to another holding cell, wait however long, then taken to another holding cell, and then back to our dorm. Most court dates are court days, spending between 8 to 14 hours for little to no time to speak. It's important to me/us. I/we matter. Well, now she's becoming like an inmate advocate. All right. Hence my letters. What will be said for this one, I wonder? Sure, your heart's in the right place and you're trying real hard, but you're still crazy. Like Lois looking for the sky, like Lois Lane looking to the skies for Superman, I'm hoping, praying for an attorney to step up and truly represent me with honesty, intensity, understanding, respect, and perspective. Peter Tragos. Tragos and Tragos. I think you're the managing partner of Tragos and Tragos law firm. I hear this calling for you. YouTube. Dare I say, the world, sir. It's presenting you an opportunity to take this stage. I wish you luck. That'd be hilarious if he takes it. I don't think he touches a 10-foot pole. When they introduce themselves, they can meet also the real me. Properly. Not the Frankenstein monster I'm being so wrongfully and incorrectly pieced together from all the propagandized, lucrative defamation and attempted destruction of my character and still intact integrity. Clearly, quote Merb. Also, everyone could see all of the aforementioned information regarding my attorneys was not ever a strategy of mine, nor will be. The neat part is, Sarah, you don't have a say in strategy. That's your attorney's decision, as are tactical decisions. Is it a strategy of the judge and the court? I don't know, Sarah. Do they have a gold fringe flag? You're not asking the right questions. And then she writes to Judge Wooten, because it's great to call him out after you've talked shit to him. Will I be included, please, in my upcoming status hearing prior to my pretrial conference, which is also the 1-year mark of attorney number 6 on July 11th? Will I be permitted? And we already covered that part where she was there. I was not. Attendance from you, like all the news channels and professional YouTubers. Oh my God, she's talking about me. Moi? A professional YouTuber? Oh, stop it, you. I hope I finally see my attorney, whom I will sure tell me, as you so graciously explained to me in my last pretrial conference I was made a part of, consuming my minute minutes of your invaluable time, that you and he have other clients. I am a client, and I have been for over a year with this attorney, and paid tax dollars to utilize all of my available resources, including and not limited to a state or government attorney appointed by the court. Yes, that's great to tell your court-appointed attorney, I pay your salary. I mean, I don't know how much you were making beforehand, but you probably weren't. And you will always have clients. You never know when you may become one yourself. Dun, dun, dun. Please do not discredit my truth. I am who, not what. Respectful and diligent. Diligent, yes. Respectful, no. Sarah Boone. And end scene. Yes, my truth. My truth. Toto Vader says she put professional YouTuber in quotes. Very accurate. Yes. But you call me a professional. Like, that's... I'm going to have to tell my mom. It's like, see, Mom, this internet stuff is, people call me professionals at this now. Murderers in Florida know who I am. Joke's on you, guidance counselor. Robert Lawrence says it would take a Superman not to get killed by her. Yes. Yes, very true, very true. Oh. Eliza Krogan saying, wait, do the taxpayers pay for this paper? Yes. Mm-hmm. You can get access to paper through a lot of commissary provides, indigent writing paper for clients. I mean, that said, though, I was just, at the jail today, and I always bring a notepad with me, and usually like I sorted out my guys so they can have some paper with them because they don't always have enough. And if they want something right on it, rip them a couple of sheets and new paper that can run front to back. So, Garrett says she's calling you out by name. Yes. Hunch says she needs a hero. Yes. I need a hero. Robert Lawrence says, how many minutes do these letters count? Or take? Yes. That's a shame. Who is a public defender says, oh my God, I hate her. Yes. Yes, Sean, you're right. After 6 attorneys, maybe not the problem. Oh, Sarah. Yeah, she is just very, very interesting. Roseman Ranch says, Sean is a professional YouTuber. Yes, very, very professional. So professional, very YouTuber. Wow. Jimmy says maybe she's angling for an insanity defense or trying to give Gosney something to work with when his office gets stuck with her appeal. Oh my God, I feel so bad for Steve having to deal with this. I don't think I'd wish that on him. Pike says, do you think she's the Karen of her cell block? Quite possibly. Oh, but with that saga over, when you move on, a couple of super chats here. Unhung Hero for $2. Thank you. A little bit of a callback to what we were talking about. Says Joe is a juror, not a defendant. Carlin would have hated Andrew Tate. Yes, he would have. But Andrew Tate, if you guys weren't aware, real quick, I'll give you a quick update. He is out on house arrest, and it sounds like basically admitted to doing all these raping and human trafficking and abusing women. And then also repeatedly talked about how corrupt the government officials are. So now they're covering their ass and prosecuting him. So it's not looking good for Andrew Tate. I'm sure he's going to have fun having to hump things in self-defense in Romanian prisons. So we'll keep track of it, though. Anyway, for $1.99, thank you so much. Says the Cyrax defense team is inciting a riot. Thoughts? Oh my gosh. Cyrax, if you're listening to this, dude, please quit talking on the internet. You're not helping yourself. And some of you might say, Sean, did your motion get through to the court? No. When I faxed it, something happened with my fax machine. Not sure what, but it didn't go through, and I didn't check it for a couple of days because that was not a priority thing I'm working on because it's not really, billable hours. So I checked on it at the end of the week last week, and it didn't. So I got it, get it resent out when I get a second. Should have that probably out tonight. So you'll see it on there. Then Jonathan says, if you don't shave with a broadsword like Runkle, you might suck 2 cocks at the same time. I mean, that's a pretty those are pretty diametrically opposed ends. I mean, either having a sword or 2 cocks in your mouth. That's a that's a very Sith style thing. Believing in absolutes. Still, Life says Andrew Tate is innocent and we'll be fine. Well, we'll see. We'll see. All right. So, guys, we got to move on here to Devon Archer. So, Devon Archer is Hunter Biden's. I'm not. Well, how would you call it? His ex-business partner. You could call him his bro, if you want to look at it that way. Well, anyways, he testified in front of the House Oversight Committee, and he did that recently, and a transcript was released. So he gave they released his transcript after lawmakers on both sides were giving drastically conflicting accounts of what he said. Now, if you listen to it from the left, nothing was talked about. Nothing at all. And depending on who you listen to on the right, oh my God, another bombshell. The walls are closing in on Joe Biden. It all depended on which way you were looking and which way the wind was blowing. But in the meantime, they did release the transcript. And it was 140 pages long. And yes, it was very, very interesting. It was a closed door interview, so nobody was allowed to be there. So this transcript is important so we can look at it. Some of the key exchanges that were out there, and we can talk about them really quick. Whereas testimony, including a claim that from Archer that Burisma, the Ukrainian gas company, 100% on the board of, would have gone out of business if it didn't have the brand attached to it. He also said that there were two dinners with Joe Biden and Hunter's foreign friends at a cafe in D.C. And another part of his testimony, though, and yes, this is part of where were they aware of any wrongdoing by President Biden? He said, no, I'm not aware of any. So there are multiple things here. Like I said, there's some things that are important. There's some things that are, kind of. But as you guys can see here, this is done by, just this transcript. This was done by a court reporter, who sat there, typed it out, and did this properly, or transcriptionist, however you want to look at it. And they had a lot of people on here. They had multiple members of oversight and accountability. They had multiple counsels here. But then they also had a bunch of people who are redacted, which you always love when that happens. And then if you notice for Devon Archer, Boyce Schiller. Yes. If you guys are familiar with that firm, Hunter Biden was of counsel at that firm. And what does of counsel designation mean? Well, of counsel means that basically you get to put your name on the letterhead and it helps the firm look fancy. So it's not the bombshell you think it is. But David Boyce is an attorney, and if you guys weren't aware of him, a very famous attorney. He was the guy who represented Al Gore and Bush v. Gore. He's a very very big dude, very big time. So, he's been involved. He's had his hands on a lot of things. He worked at the DOJ, but it's what he did after he got out, and basically became a hatchet man for the Democrat Party. So, great stuff, huh? I'm glad this incestuous cabal just doesn't end. Just doesn't end. And it's funny because, like, in this part here, he was involved in Theranos with Elizabeth Holmes. And yes, he was on the board of directors and acted as an attorney for them. Surely that's not a conflict. But hey, it's okay when you do it when you're a Democrat. So, yes, a very big Democrat donor. Biggest. Huge. Yes, and they also did represent Virginia Giuffre against Prince Andrew is part of the Jeffrey Epstein saga. So, yes, that testimony, like I said, there wasn't a ton there, but it's clear that Hunter would have his dad on the phone, say, "Oh, look, it's my dad." And he put him on speakerphone and go, "Hey, guys. Hey, Dad, can you say hi to the guys here?" Well, and he would use that saying, "Oh, hello." And yes, using his dad to show, look, I have access to my dad all the time. So we'll see where that goes. But it is very interesting in that regard. And the last thing tonight, and this is one where it's we have some resolution to it. So if you guys had seen this at all, there is a situation where a police dog wrongfully attacks an innocent man. Now, we're going to share this. This happened down in Circleville, Ohio. And this is outside of Columbus, the South. Oh, hold on here. Wow. Okay. Leonardo da Vinci, you were okay. Hold on here. Oh, okay. This is funny. You invested in Likud narratives where Irish crackheads don't easily outspy your FSB friends. Oh wow, wow. We're getting a little aggravated down in the comments below. Wow. So anyway, getting to this did occur, and this is, I think, civil rights lawyer started to cover this, but yeah, this is absolutely fucked up. I mean, this guy is Ben Crump involved, but I think, for once, this is one of those few times where Ben Crump actually has a right to be involved. Why can't it be me though? Because this is free money. Like, this could pay off my student loans. I could buy a boat. And then I could buy a boat that holds a Ferrari and a helicopter probably with this kind of money. But this is a guy getting stopped by the highway patrol. For some reason, he's a truck driver who didn't understand why the police were trying to stop him after 30 miles. And then calls 911 and says, "I don't know why these guys are behind me. I'm scared." It's because he didn't have proper equipment on, but, you'd think a truck driver would understand that. But anyway, here we go.
Get out. I'll put my hands up.
If you guys notice, the flying tire is the symbol of the Ohio Highway Patrol. So yes, flying tire, so fearsome.
Buzzing, both hands up, both hands up.
Driver! Exit the truck! Like you got a cell phone in his hand, baby.
He's on 911. Tell him to put
Watch the car.
Got his hands up. Come out to me!
Stuff out of the truck.
Come out to me! You guys got my cover?
Yep.
All right,
I'm closer.
go.
Come out to me! Come to me! Come to me! Hands up! Come to me! Come to me! Come!
If you notice, this is a lot of police with guns drawn, which this guy, I think, did the right thing. He got out of the truck and just stood there with his hands up. Because, yeah, I'm not moving either. I'll make you come get me. That's probably a safer bet.
To me!
Come to us!
To me! Come here!
Down.
Down!
I got a taser for you.
There's somebody else.
Okay, so now and that's the problem with this video. It takes a second to get going. Damn it. If you guys notice, though, these cops are talking about using tasers, and they are literally... If you guys notice, this is a 53-foot-long semi-trailer, and they've got tasers out. Like, bro, come on. That taser ain't going to do shit. Now, if you guys are watching over here, traffic has been stopped. And you're going to hear and see a police car come out, and that'll be important later. Justice Smith says the flying tire symbol because they like to destroy cars with pit maneuvers. No, that's actually the Arkansas State Police. Very big difference. It's Tritton says those police cars look fake. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, they do. They look like Matchbox cars. That's a lot of people say that. So let's get back to this video though and see where we're at here. All right.
Watch past.
Somebody else in the truck.
Is there a second?
Come to me.
Radio?
Time to get down, bro.
I got you on tape. I got you on.
Hey! Hey!
Hey! Get down on the ground. Get down on the ground.
Okay.
Lappies! Come to me!
Language barrier.
Come to me!
I also just chased a skunk out of our
Come to me! I will not hurt you! Come to me!
I will not hurt you, but I've got a gun in my hand. I promise I won't hurt you. As I scream at you.
Understands us.
Does he understand?
Yes, he said there was no language barrier.
No language. No,
Come to me!
no language barrier.
Come to me, man! I'm not gonna hurt you!
Says the screaming white man with a gun.
Come to me!
Radio, advise circle that'll stop there. It's fields of fire.
Tell them to stop there if they got a dog.
Sorry about that. There's the police. So guess what happens out of that car?
Circle PD has a dog.
They do have a dog. He's right there.
That's a dog! Come to me! You don't want bit!
Get on the ground and get bit.
Watch your field of fire go less lethal.
Notice they say come to me and then somebody screams, get on the ground or you're going to get bit. So now how do you comply?
Hang on, you're going to get bit.
Estrada, less lethal.
Final chance, you're going to get bit.
And notice he's now having to talk with two sets of people. One group of people threatening him to do one thing and the other group threatening him to do another. This isn't going to end well.
Watch your dogs, y'all.
All right. Hold on. Do not.
Now, that is interesting. You guys notice the police dog gets a little loose. This player sucks. That dog. Notice that police dog starts running at the cops, and guess what the cops don't do? They don't shoot that dog. Kind of interesting, isn't it? They shoot every other dog that comes towards them, but not this one because it's a police dog. It's okay. That's just... no, brilliant police work there, boys. Brilliant work. The most brilliant of work. But as you can see, this guy's trying to get down, and then, Roncher said that dog handler's an absolute POS. Yes. So, here we go.
No!
Bad bite.
Get the dog off of me! Get the dog!
So, yes, he's a compliant suspect who is not posing a threat and still gets attacked by his dog. Notice the handler's not trying to stop it, not trying to get in the dog's way. Just, get him, Fido.
Out the dog now! Get the cat! Get the cat!
So that dog chomped on that guy for over 30 seconds. And yeah. So great stuff, huh? Makes you, the Fourth Amendment is perfect there, huh? Reasonable force becomes a Fifth Amendment issue. It's probably also an Eighth Amendment issue there. It's just subject to cruel and unusual punishment by the police. You're not allowed just to sick dogs on people. But we do have some resolution to this. And, just shows you how things work is not exactly what we want them to be. So the Columbus Dispatch, they point out that the Circleville officer was disciplined for talking about the dog mauling incident. Not necessarily that the dog did anything, that he did anything wrong, but that he talked too much about it. So last week, they fired their dog handler for following an attack on an unarmed truck driver. But the termination was not because Officer Ryan Speakman violated police policy by unleashing the dog, Serge, who mauled the driver for more than 40 seconds. The official reason for the firing was not meeting the standards of expectations we hold for our officers. You mean like being competent and not using force on unarmed people? No. That apparently is a standard and expectation they have in the Circleville, Ohio Police Department. Good one, Chief. According to the letter dated July 25th, a week before the firing, he was punished for crying and speaking with colleagues and others and providing misleading information. That means lying, and having stress-related behavior related to the incident and the attention he was receiving. Signed by the chief, but with no recipient named, the letter titled Chief Bear's Involvement says, I explained to him that his conduct was not beneficial to himself or the agency. 2 weeks after the incident, he ordered him to remain silent, talking about what happened. More of that transparency from the police. But the next day, he continued to discuss with others the state highway patrol stop of Jadarius Rose and the dog mauling incident, and at times tearfully prompting the chief then to order an internal investigation. Yes, because your guy telling people, I think I screwed up. We can't have that on the police department. The chief then told him, I need you to tell me everybody you've spoken to about the incident. And this looks great by the chief of police. Bear wrote in the letter that Speakman was so concerned about his Belgian Malinois. I don't know why they put an M in there. I thought it was an N. Serge, with whom he lives, that he was begging that I do not take his best friend from him. The guy's not upset that he, severely injured a guy. It's just, don't take my pupper. Don't take my doggo. And the chief told him he had no intention of doing so if you haven't done anything wrong. They reminded him that they were following policy and allow us the time it takes to follow the policy. Yes, we're attempting to investigate ourselves to determine if you've done anything wrong. Don't get in the way of our investigation to determine whether or not you've done anything wrong. It was only after the dispatch reported about the incident on media that he was fired. The chief nor anybody else informed the public of it, the mauling. And the review board had determined he acted within departmental policy and had done nothing wrong. The member review board is 6 police officers. That's great. I'm sure that's a unbiased thing there. Beautiful. Instead of punishment, the board, the names of which had not been released to the public. That's great. More transparency from the police. Recommended that him and the dog return to the kennels of Pennsylvania for follow-up training. That's what they need, more training. Don't attack unarmed people. I'm sure you need a lot of training for that. Oh. They did point out that during the use of a force review, you were asked by the chief of police in the presence of the deputy chief and the HR director who you have communicated with about the review. And it sounds like he talked to so many people, he may have tainted the investigation. Maybe you need an outside investigation. I know, shocker, having some accountability here. His handwritten list, he notes speaking to his wife, a dog trainer, his father and mother-in-law about the incident. Okay. Oh. It's beautiful. Beautiful, isn't it? But yes, they're going to investigate themselves and clear themselves of any wrongdoing. So, beautiful. True heroes. Heroes one and all. Guys, I'm not muted. It's not working tonight. Yes, Justice Smith, right. Yes. I won't hurt you unless I get the chance. ... No language barrier. If the guy goes and he starts going oink, 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 oink. Oh. Yes, Sarah was calling me for an interview. No. Sarah Fox says it went straight for the woman cop. Yes. Oh. Yes, that was Furby says the law the canine broke, the thin blue line law. Oh, and Sheriff Fox says his wife is gonna miss the dog. Yeah. Emmy says, I hope the guy suit he is. He's got Benjamin Crump, which you may not like him, but hey, this guy will get results for him. He'll get some money. That's gonna be a lot of money too. I mean, that is a massive that they'll file the 1983 lawsuit, and that city better just start writing checks because that is not going to look good. Meat Candy says, did I cover the dude losing leg? No, I've heard about it. It's insane. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. Breach, real quick, you're saying, can you look at what's going on with the 29-23-14 challenge of State v. Philpotts? It's actually 29-23.13 because it's the having weapons while under disability. Yeah, I don't have Pacer, and it's hard as fuck to find anything. That is, well, you don't use Pacer. Use the Supreme Court of Ohio's website and click on opinions, and then you're going to look for the 8th District Court of Appeals. That's where Cuyahoga County is, and that's where Philpotts is being decided. Went up to the Supreme Court of Ohio, and then they kicked it back down and let the Court of Appeals figure it out. I don't think there's been any movement on it yet. So that is something to look into. And yes, Stabby, I will look into some of those other cases that are out there. Let's see here. The Real Hydro PX for $5. Thank you. Is saying, is your locals getting nudes like Ricketa's Law? Come on, we know it is. No, it's not. Nope, no skin. So, and with that, I will say we are Breach is the 8th and back to the trial court already. Oh, okay. I haven't had a chance to look. But yes, I do plan on covering that one because it does have an interesting trajectory, how it went around. Zero Fox saying real quick, did I see the Andy Nose trial started in Portland this week? Yes, it did. Him suing all the Antifa members, including that burned off face guy who, oof. Yeah, I hope he wins. I'm sure he'll get all their money from all those poor little tools. So I'm just checking to see what else do we have here. Actually, that is it for tonight, guys. We got it done in under 2 hours. I'm impressed. Very happy to see that. And where is Ryu Gunplus says, what are my thoughts on the Lizzo case? I don't know yet. I haven't had a chance to really check into that. Mr. VR says, oh, Spacey. Oh, God, I forgot about him. Yes, we got to get this one done. Kevin Spacey he really is Kaiser Sose from The Usual Suspects. Once again, acquitted. And he was acquitted of the UK of sexual assault charges. So, yeah. They acquitted him after 12 hours of deliberation. This occurred last week. As he got acquitted, he was acquitted of all 9 charges, including counts of sexual assault, 1 count of causing a person to engage in sexual activity without consent. Why don't we just call that rape? And 1 count of causing a person to engage in penetrative sexual activity without consent. Why is that not called rape? Because that's pretty much what the definition of rape is. Just saying. I mean, just saying there. Just might want to work on that one, England, because that wasn't rape. It was just causing a person to engage in sexual activity without consent. Big difference than rape. Old chap. His trial was after 4 weeks of hearings. Kevin Spacey was there the whole time. They claimed that he aggressively grabbed 3 men by the crotch and performed sex acts on another man while he was asleep. Kevin Spacey denied all his charges, and he claimed he's just a big flirt who had consensual flings and made what, in retrospect, were just a clumsy pass. He said at someone whose interest he'd misread. Not sure trying to give a blowy to somebody who's asleep is a clumsy pass, but hey, if you're into that thing, it sounds like you might have fun hanging out with Kevin Spacey. His attorney says it's not a crime to like sex, even if you're famous, and it's not a crime to have casual sex. But it is a crime to have non-consensual sex. Oh. Yes, he thinks that at this point now will be to get his career back, and saying people will be ready to hire him again as soon as he's cleared of the charges in London. I'm not so sure that's going to work out the way you think it is, but good luck to you. And then he told the magazine, in 10 years, it won't mean anything. My work will live longer than I will, and that's what will be remembered. Not in the age of the internet, man. Not in the age of the internet. Kevin Spacey's defense lawyer, though, I really wish he would have been able to hire an attorney named Kobayashi. If you guys get that joke, that would have been so amazing. Or paid to have his attorney change his name to Kobayashi. Oh. Yes, Aaron Gold was right. People will hire me just in time for the big strike. The amateur iconoclast says Disney will hire him. Yes, they might. Oh. Garrett says, yes, having witnesses die is always a great plan. I don't think any of his witnesses have died yet, but yes, there's still time for them. Leonardo DiPicci says, well, do you just want to call it twink rape officially? I'm like, that's a little more descriptive, because otherwise it leaves a lot to the imagination. Yes, the victims did live through the trial this time. So, yes, they haven't died yet. So, yes, good job, Kevin Spacey. You are undefeatable. You are unsinkable. You are the man. So, I guess get back out there and see who's hiring. Goalie says he's starring in the Netflix movie about Joey Chestnut's story. Still Life says, my son's name, ironically, is also Twink Rape. Come here, little Twink Rape. Oh, look at him. Our little Twink Rape riding his bike for the first time. All right, guys. Well, that is it for tonight. We are all done. I want to say thank you to everybody here, everybody watching on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, or here on YouTube. Thank you also to everybody who liked, subscribe, share it around. I would always appreciate that. Everybody who's been chatting, making comments, guys, those are always appreciated. I love the engagement. I love talking to you guys. And then I'd like to say, last but not least, thank you to everybody with the super chats, and also thank you to everybody over in the locals live chat. I will be over to start the after show in just 1 minute, but I will say until next time. Well, actually, before we get to next time, we will be covering the Hannah Reid preliminary hearing on Wednesday and Thursday. All day long, if it happens to go that long. I hope to gosh. I don't think it can, but who knows? Should be good. Should be a fun time. It'll probably start around 11 o'clock Eastern, and we will be there. And then we will be back at it again Thursday night next week. So, guys, remember, until next time, just because you did it does not mean you're guilty. And apparently Kevin Spacey has taken this to heart because he is undefeated. So, thank you for listening to my advice, Kevin. At least somebody is out there. Good night, guys.